Hello.
Welcome back to Real Grown Talk. I'm back here with Ashley Santiago.
Hello, I'm Ashley, and
I'm Ari.
this is Ari.
Yes, so welcome back to our podcast, Real Grown Talk, where we kind of talk about the real estate market and how to help you out and kind of make sure that your future is set, you know?
Yep. We like to talk about growth here, and that's kind of how we got the name, right?
Yep.
And also, obviously, we work in real estate, so we talk about a lot of growth through real estate and how that can help you in other areas of your life as well. How-tos in real estate, things to look out for in real estate, whatever your needs are, you come right here to Real Grown Talk. And if we haven't talked about it, we will.
Yeah, I mean, I think today we're around Halloween time.
Yep.
So I wanted to talk about some scary situations, right?
Ooh,
things
scary.
that will essentially kind of make us really worried, you know?
Yeah. I mean, things come up. Every transaction is a unique situation. So, you know, it's like, okay, when something like this comes up, how are we going to handle it?
Yes, as professionals.
Right. Our clients are going to be freaking out enough. We can't be freaking out
right.
too.
We got to be like ducks, you know?
Yep.
Calm on the surface and our feet are
Just
flippity flapping.
going a million miles a minute.
Yep.
So, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. One thing I want to bring up is, so, you know, everybody knows that the IRS just hired like 88,000 people, right?
Right.
So a big thing that's coming up now, people are getting letters in the mail saying they owe back taxes. And if you're in contract, especially for government loans, you can't have any sort of federal debt. So federal debt includes like tax liens, student loans, federal student loans, back taxes.
We all know you're not getting away from those student loans. Just pay them. It might not be on your credit yet.
Yep.
But the government knows you owe the money or you're
Exactly.
behind before they even report it to the credit bureaus.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes time to buy a house and you're using that government-backed loan product, boom, red flag, that's going to come up right away.
Yeah, so we do something called CAVERS. So CAVERS, it essentially is a search to see if there's any sort of federal debt. And then when we do that and that pops up, you know, that's the search that we do. Essentially, if we pull your credit, it's not going to pull in your credit. We might see a student loan, but when we actually won't see if it's in default.
Right.
And then taxes, we wouldn't see that as well.
Right.
So, you know, the main focus on that is kind of, if you did pay your taxes, because sometimes, you know, human error.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of things in taxes that are scary that, you know, I don't want to get into because taxes are just over my head.
That's a whole other category.
That's over my head. Leave it to the professionals.
We'll get a tax person in here one day maybe and they can talk about that. But
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do that because tax advice I will not give.
Yeah, but I could use some.
Yes, I know.
So,
so
any kind of federal debt really comes up on CAVERS.
It doesn't pop up on your credit score, which is fine, you know. So that's the other layers of, you know, getting you pre-approved. That's a good pre-approval, is if you run CAVERS and you take a look at your credit and thing like that. So if that pops up, then it's an issue.
Yep.
You know, you have to, maybe, like I said, maybe it's a problem where they filed something wrong. You're like, oh, you paid it. And he's like, okay, where's the proof? And you show the proof, boom, send it to the government. We're good. You know, so that's.
Or we're going to strategize and find a way to pay it. We're going to help you get there one way or another. We're going to help you balance your books. So maybe, you know, it's just a budgeting thing for you or whatever it takes really to get there.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, obviously it's not an ideal situation, but it happens. You know, there's bumps in every sort of transaction.
Yep.
Which is, I think it's normal. I think it's less normal. Wait, hold on. Let me kind of phrase this correctly.
Yeah.
It's more normal than for something to happen than to not.
Yeah.
Like a smooth transaction is.
It does feel awkward, like, how come we haven't encountered any issues
right,
yet?
you know, it's like
not that how come we haven't encountered any issues yet, but it's like, this is like too easy.
Right. and sometimes it's that way.
Every
and you're
once
just
in
like,
a
wow,
while you get that, and you're like, right, everything,
Yeah.
Sometimes you meet someone, they just have all their ducks in a row. They've been working on this
I
a few
love
years
you, by
already.
The way. If you're out there, I love you. You have all your docs. You sent it to me the first day we talked.
Oh my God, before the meeting, they send it to you.
Like, so what should I bring? And I was like, excuse me?
How did you know the paperwork on you?
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
Which is great, you get those people. And then you get those people that don't, they've never done it before, so they need our guidance, right? That's why
that's why we specialize in that.
We're the professionals,
Right.
There's a lot of hats we wear in these transactions, so it can get scary,
Number one hat I wear is your realtor. Number two hat I wear is your friend.
Oh boy.
Okay, so something else that can happen. Obviously, we've talked about this before, that, we work with a lot of VA clients,
Yep.
right? So with a lot of VA clients, many of them are still active duty, and a big thing that can happen for them is maybe they own a home already and they come up on orders. So what do you do, right? What are we going to do if that happens? You're living in this house, you haven't had it very long, and then all of a sudden the military is like, nope, you got to go.
Yep.
So, the number one thing I can suggest in that scenario is, first of all, call your real estate team. Call your lender, call your real estate agent, have a little meeting together and strategize. First thing. The earlier the strategy comes along, the earlier other things will start to get knocked off that list, and the sooner we can resolve this issue for you.
Yeah.
Whether it be selling your home, refinancing your home, renting your home, whatever it is that you're going to do, just contact your team. Let's get started right away.
Yeah. I mean, it's important to kind of know what your options are, right? Because you're in a situation where you're like, oh man, I got to move my whole life right now.
Right.
What do I do?
Right.
And you're already thinking about your personal life.
Yeah. And it's overwhelming when you get orders. I live that lifestyle for years. My husband get orders. It's like, oh my God, you usually are expecting it, but sometimes you're not. They just come up with assignment for you, and it is what it is. You can't really change it. Or, it might not behoove you to pass up the opportunity. Sometimes it's really just okay, I need this to get a promotion, so I got to go.
Yeah.
And I actually have a client that this happened to. She called me in May. She's like, she called me in April, and she's like, I came up on orders to Germany. I wasn't expecting this at all. I've only owned my house for just over a year.
Yeah.
Just over a year. So she's worried, But she's like, you know what? At the very end of the day, I'll just rent it out, though. I really don't want to deal with selling it. I know I'm going to lose money. Da-da-da-da-da. So I told her the same thing. Let's meet up. Let's strategize, right? Let's strategize early and come up with a plan.
Yeah.
So we actually sat down and kind of took a look at the numbers at what she would be able to make for rental income every month versus if she sold it, and found out that she probably had quite a bit of equity. So we came up with a plan to list the house quickly. That's a time where we kind of knew the market was turning. Mm-hmm. We knew, right? We were starting to see signs of it. We want to make sure that, we get this house on the market. And I think the biggest indicator was the forbearances, right? Mm-hmm. We're starting to come back and bite people who took the forbearance.
Yep.
So, with these distressed properties on the market, can drive down the value a little bit. We want to take advantage while the market is still hot for a seller.
Absolutely.
And that was really the biggest thing for her, right? So we get in there, we strategize, we get the house on the market quick. We list it for maybe $60,000 over what she owes. That's a pretty good payday for having the place for only a year, right?
Yeah.
Well, we listed it kind of low, and we got a huge bidding war. I mean, we received over 10 offers.
There you go.
One of them was $75,000 over asking. She ended up making a ton of money before she went to Germany, and it really worked out well. And it was really because she just initially made that phone call.
Yeah, she had a plan,
and we were able to
think
act
about
on it.
Just anybody that has a plan, I think, you're prepared. Whatever the next step is, you're going to be prepared.
Yeah.
So one thing I do want to piggyback on that as well is on the buying side.
Right.
Let's just say you have a VA buyer, and he or she is like, oh, I got to do this training for 4 months. For 4 months.
Got to go on a submarine. Got to go to training.
And then you're like, oh, you just got into contract. And the person's like, I just found out.
Right.
So you're like, we got to get into action, right? What do we do? Right away, you got to make a plan, right? Call your real estate team, ask them what's going on, say, this is my situation. And there's a lot of, honestly, it's
happens.
doable. I've done it. I literally did one with Adam Rhodes,
just
where
recently
the person just left and the Navy was like, hey, I didn't know I was leaving. She got here, was here for about a week. We collected all the documents. Shout out to Drew, by the way, who's a transaction manager. Got all the documents that we needed in a week. Got a POA, which is a power of attorney from somebody here on the island, and we signed her.
able to use the power of attorney to get to the end.
It was crazy because I was like scared. I was like, okay, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, it is scary.
Like, we're gonna lose this, but if you get your ducks in a row, you know exactly what needs to be done. Again, she was very responsible in telling us, and then also getting us everything we needed right away.
Yeah, just as quickly as she found out, she let her team know. She acted on it. You guys acted on it. Boom. You know, scary for us because we don't want our client to miss out. It's scary for our clients because, you go so long looking for the perfect place, putting in offers. It's been better with the putting in offers part, but you go so long looking for the perfect place. You finally find it. You get in contract. Many times you want to go, you want to close, but the military takes you away. It's not your choice.
You can't be like, hey, can I not go? That's not going to happen. They're like, remember this contract you signed? Yeah,
yeah, you're going.
It supersedes your contract with the house.
So, okay.
I mean, that's one of the scarier ones that I've had to deal with in terms of the person literally not being here physically. And, like, even if we needed a small thing, it could take the whole, thing down.
Yep. Okay. Another scary thing.
I mean...
I can't handle it.
I have PTSD from thinking about all the situations.
I think clouded title is pretty scary. The first time I heard that I was selling a property and there was a cloud on the title, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh no, what do I do? Of course, by myself in my office, right? I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? So a clouded title is basically when there's someone else out there who has any claim of ownership to your property whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So usually when we see this, it's some kind of unpaid debt, like a mechanic's lien or an old mortgage. Lien, right? Yeah, construction lien. Usually something to tax lien, right? Yep. So it's usually something to do with money because that's typically what it is. Yeah. I mean, we do live in a unique place where sometimes someone might have a blood right to your land, but by this time, it would be really hard to encounter something like that because lands have been bought and sold so many times. It would have come up before, right? Yeah. In someone else's previous title search. So, let's just say escrow's doing your title search and boom, something comes up. So we have a good example of this. We actually recently had a client who's trying to purchase a property that was pretty much owned since the 70s by the same people. So they've never really had to deal with this. It was before the 70s because they had a loan that they paid off in the 70s. But the loan still came up on the title as active. Like they had never paid it off.
Wow.
Luckily, in this scenario, these folks are very organized and they have everything. Their mortgage company ever sent them in a filing cabinet. They were able to pull it out. Although we were going to be able to solve it without that because, again, title company alerted us right away. We were able to get on it and start doing the research that we needed. Turns out that bank had, gone out of business since, and
that's even more like
even worse, right? Even worse, right? They had the documents and we were able to show, hey, they paid it. Because many times, I would say, majority of the time, those debts really are actually paid, but they haven't been removed for one reason or another.
Shout out to organized people.
Yes, and the title company for being on it.
Yeah. That's important.
There were other things that were happening that we were going to be able to get it done even without that paper because our people had followed the right channels and right avenues to kind of resolve this issue anyway. And it got to the point where we're able to get the title company to agree to still warranty that, or ensure that so that no one else can claim in the future. So even if that mortgage company was going to come back and say that they still owed money, the title company is ensuring that they're going to cover that in that scenario.
Yep, and that's why you have title insurance.
Yep.
You do the title search.
Yes, get that guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, there's like I was saying at the beginning, there's a lot of hiccups that could happen. You know,
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing I like to say is be upfront with your loan officer, your real estate team. You know, family emergency, something's going on. You got to fly somewhere.
Yep.
You know, let us know when you're flying, because maybe you know that we're thinking of the day we're closing. It is 2020, but we can't. We can do some things electronically, but right now one of our loan docs needs to be wet signed.
Yep.
So if you're leaving, and then that also can mean that you're going to spend some extra money that you didn't think you essentially
Yep.
were going to spend, or put it towards, maybe you were going to put it towards your rate, you know,
Yep.
or, you know, maybe some cash to close. But then, you know, then that's where I think our professionalism comes in and says, all right, well, you know, you can negotiate with the seller, be like, hey,
Yeah, there's many
Seller
avenues
credit.
we could take, right? If
Yep.
that comes up. If you have a family emergency, it's not the end of the world. We're here for you.
also take care of your family first.
Take care of your family first. We're compassionate, first of all.
Absolutely.
You know,
We're
we're going to help you
humans.
any way that we can. But also, maybe we have to, renegotiate. Maybe we have to re-strategize. It might be the middle of the contract, but it's not too late. We haven't closed yet.
Exactly.
You know? So those family emergencies can definitely seem like, you know, the end of a transaction.
Right.
From the seller's perspective, from the
Mhm.
buyer's perspective, from the loan officer, from the real estate. I think all of us, when an emergency comes up for either the buyer or the seller, kind of feel the same thing there. Is scared.
Yeah, exactly. So you're
But,
like, oh no. But again, you know, same thing with the seller side.
Right.
Something can happen with the seller too. You know, it's like
We've definitely seen
it's
that
a
also.
it's a two-way street in terms of real estate. It is a two-party, you know, transaction where something can happen on the seller side, or
Yep.
you know, the house that they were going to get falls through, and so you got to give them some time to look, so the contract gets extended that way.
That's true.
And then, you know, maybe, and that way you can kind of negotiate, you know, some seller credit in terms of like, all right, well, I didn't know I was going to stay in this apartment a little longer, and things
Yeah.
like that. You know, it's all about.
Maybe we need a credit. Maybe we need more time.
Yes.
Maybe we just need a different loan product, right? Like maybe your car broke down. You had to buy a new car. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like you got to get to work. At the end of the day, right? Like,
Yeah.
if
How
your
you going to.
you know, you're not gonna be able to pay for your mortgage if you don't got your job. If you can't get
Yep.
your job, you're done, right? So
Yep.
you know, these kinds of things come up, and so you know, maybe you have no choice. You got to go buy a newer used car right now, right? Whatever your thing is. Not necessarily the end of the world, but talk to us about it first.
Yes,
just talk to
please.
us. We can help you plan. You know,
Yeah.
if you just go out and buy a car, you know, then ultimately, depending on what you've just done, we might not be able to get there. We might not be able to get the closing.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it
But,
happen.
you know, include us in the conversation. If you know it's an absolute necessity, maybe we can, you know, for you're going to look at the numbers, right? Balance
Yeah.
the books out. What's the
Basically.
percentage? How much can you afford? And you're going to give them a guideline to buy a car within.
Yeah. Be like, all right, you can get a car payment that's going to be about $200 to $400. You know, it might not be
Well,
the
then
best
maybe
car.
you should take the bus.
Yeah. You know, I mean, but
Just kidding.
and
It's
if they-
inflation, you know.
Exactly. You know, $200 to $400 or whatever it is. Let's be a little bit more. Give them some more money. So 4 to 6.
Okay, that's
Right.
reasonable.
4 to 6, and you know, it's a decent car. So 4 to 6, and then I would put it into your DTI. We talk about this a lot. Debt to income ratio. Throw that in there, and if your ratio can handle it, I would say, hey, green light, go for it. Just give me the
Right.
statement when it comes out.
Otherwise,
does
call
happen.
your realtor until the end of this transaction and get a ride to work every day.
You're
Just
gonna
kidding.
give everybody okay. That's above and beyond. That's extra. That's what I'm saying. We have that type of customer service.
Hey, I got friends that drive Uber, you know.
We can split. We can split it.
Yeah, you go one way,
Yeah.
I'll go the other.
It depends. Like I'll drive back.
Hopefully you
drive-
live in Wahoo and work in Kapolei because
Hopefully you
that's the
live
way
in
I'm
town.
going.
Yeah, my office is 10 minutes away. You can borrow my car.
That's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the overall consensus is there's many scary things that can happen during the transaction.
Yep.
But communication is key. As long as you're
Absolutely.
keeping us in the loop, we're working as a team because that's what we are. We're a
Mhm.
team. We're working together.
Yep.
We're going to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, any sort of big purchases, even if I think we talked about this in the past on one of our episodes, But any sort of big purchase, even if you don't think it's a big purchase, let us know. We'll
Yeah.
give you the green light, and maybe don't buy all your furniture before you move into the house.
Wait till you get in. We know you want to get it delivered on the day of closing, but just wait.
Yeah, you don't want to have a bunch of furniture outside a house that you don't have yet.
Yeah. Or just, yeah, just in general.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize the furniture thing is a good point. Like, okay, if you spend cash, like the lender's looking at how much cash you have in your bank account, right?
Yeah, we need to see.
Yeah.
We track from the day that I pre-qualify you. I'm tracking your funds.
Right.
Any sort of liquid, let's just say, because then also let's just put this in a perspective too. Like, all right, you spend that cash in your bank account, and you're like, oh, I can pull it from my 401k. Have you done it yet? Most likely, no, because you didn't tell me that you need to do it, and it takes a little bit longer. We need to track everything.
Yep, it's true.
So, I mean, that can all be scary, but again, if you have a plan and you know what's going on, everybody is on the same page, we can get it done. It's happened before. We've done it, and people don't even know.
Yep, it's true. Sometimes, many times, we're able to fix it before it really even becomes a problem. We know it's going to be a problem. We fix it before it is one.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome to be honest with you, because people are like, they trust us with everything. And their future in the home. So it can be scary, but we got your back.
Yep. We're here for you, people.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. It was pretty awesome. This is a good one.
Bye, guys.